Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of my Baby Steps series. So, because infertility is such a taboo subject, a lot of people kind of, don't feel comfortable approaching someone that they know is going through infertility to ask the questions that they're curious about. I know that it's a really sensitive topic for people to try and navigate. I decided to create kind of a safe space on my Life's Baby Steps website where people could anonymously ask any question they wanted, no holds barred, no social niceties, no worrying about offending anyone, just ask what's on your mind, and then I would try and answer them to the best of my abilities. So I got a few really good questions, and because I want to answer them as best and as thorough as possible, I might split them up over the course of a few videos. The first question that I got is, what is the monetary cost of infertility? Speaking to people regarding the subject, there seems to be inconsistencies regarding people's knowledge of this. So I guess first thing, I did make a video in my video series called Money Talks. I'll link it up in the iCard if you want to check that out, which outlines all of the costs and money that we spend through our fertility treatments so far. And for us, in total, we've probably spent almost $20,000 on fertility treatments, and that's just with the basic, we just did a few cycles of medicated timed intercourse cycles. We didn't do an IUI, and we did one round of IVF. Like I said in that video, it's just the tip of the iceberg. Some people have spent way more money than that on fertility treatments, and we probably will be as well. As far as the inconsistencies go, with people telling you maybe different amounts of how expensive it is, that really varies for so many different reasons. One reason that you might be hearing inconsistencies, not only do fertility treatments vary so widely in terms of cost in different countries, but also it varies clinic by clinic in the same country. For reasons I'm not 100% sure about, but I know I've seen plenty of stories of people that have traveled to Greece or other countries because the fertility treatments there end up being way less expensive than doing it in Canada or the United States. And that's even factoring in travel and hotel stays and all that. When it comes to medication, I know a lot of people end up having to pay for the medication out of pocket if they are doing a funded cycle or even unfunded. It seems like not a lot of insurance companies or work plans cover fertility drugs, which is a shame. The cost of those drugs themselves can also vary depending on what pharmacy you get them at. I've also heard that sometimes if you get the medications directly from your clinic, it can be more expensive than if you kind of shop around at different pharmacies and get the best price that way. You can save quite a bit of money. And then another thing that jacks up the price for those is the doses. So everyone has different doses of different medications, and the combinations of all those meds and doses, and depending on where they get them, again, can be so different depending. If you talk to one person and they tell you they spent $2,000 on meds, you could go and talk to the next person and they can say they spent $5,000 on meds, and they're both right, because that's the truth for both of their situations. That's just the truth of fertility treatments. Is it's hard to budget for in some ways, because going into it, you don't necessarily know right away what protocol your doctor's going to give you, if it's going to work, how long you're going to be on the stimulation medications for. That can depend too. You might go into it thinking, oh, I'm going to be on the stim meds for 8 to 10 days, and then you might end up having to pay several $100s more because you have to stim for a few days longer and you have to pick up extra medication. Another reason why the price may vary from person to person is for the procedural costs. There's different things that you can add on that sometimes cost extra, such as embryo glue, using ICSI instead of natural fertilization methods, getting genetic testing done. If the clinic has EmbryoScope technology, that might hike up the prices a little bit. So in that way, there's a lot of added costs that some doctors recommend their patients do. Some opt not to do them to save money. It's all really personal decision. And lastly, depending on what type of fertility treatment you're getting, that can affect the price too. So when I was talking about basic medicated cycles, I was on some low dose medication for a short amount of time, and then we just did timed intercourse at home. That's pretty much your most basic, cheapest option to start with. And then from there, you get progressively more expensive. So IUIs are probably double, if not more, than the medicated cycle. And then IVF is even more than that. And the price also varies as well, whether you're doing your own eggs or your partner's sperm, or getting donor eggs or donor sperm, whether there's surrogacy involved, whether you're adopting embryos or having any of those pieces shipped from a different country or a different clinic. It just, there's so many pieces to this huge puzzle that is fertility treatments, and I completely understand why you may be confused if you've talked to a few people or if you've read forums online, how could the prices be so different? And the reality is that fertility treatments aren't like a one and done thing for everyone. It's not like you have this diagnosis, therefore you get this protocol. It doesn't work that way. Sometimes a protocol will work for one person with a diagnosis, and for that same diagnosis, it may be a complete failure for them. Like me, for example, with low AMH and diminished ovarian reserve, a lot of diminished ovarian reserve patients do really poorly when priming with birth control and often do very poorly with high stimulatory medications, which is what I was on for my first IVF cycle. And other people do fine with it. So yeah, it really depends. And so if you want to know exactly the breakdown of all the medications I use and the doses I use and everything that we paid for, from testing to IVF procedural stuff, beginning to end, if you want to know more about that, again, go check out my Money Talks video in the iCard, and I'll link it down below as well. And if you have any more questions regarding that, I'd be happy to answer them for you, and I hope that kind of cleared it up a little bit. And I'll see you guys next time in my next Q&A video. Bye!